welcome to Talent Talks. I'm Lara Guevara, your host and the CEO of More Staffing. Today, we're excited to have a chat with Ryan, the founder and CEO of Caley Golf, and an e-commerce brand specializing in golf-related products. Thank you for joining us, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you very
And
much for having me.
yeah,
Excited.
to start, can you tell us something about yourself, about your brand?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Ryan, founder of Caley Golf. I am from sunny Scotland. It's a beautiful day here, which is
Nice.
not normally the case. I started Caley back in 2019, so yeah, it's just crazy how time passes. But so yeah, we'll turn 6 in May, which is very.
Wow.
Previously to starting Cali, I was working in digital marketing, running e-commerce brands for other people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from a family of entrepreneurs, so I've always wanted to create my own brand and be my own boss. So I was just waiting for an idea, an opportunity. And prior to working in digital marketing, I was working in golf retail. So I already had like a background in golf.
Nice.
I was used to selling golf equipment. So yeah, those two kind of experiences combined to me starting Cali. The direct consumer golf market back in 2019 was not like how it is now. There was only
Mm-hmm.
a couple of competitors, and basically, yeah, I thought I could do a better job than they were doing. And yeah, back then it was easier, and we got our starts and grew a lot over COVID. Golf had a big boom in popularity during COVID.
Yeah.
One of the only sports that people could play, get outside and
Yeah.
play golf. And of course, e-commerce also had a boom. So yeah, that really helped us grow in the early years. And yeah, I'm just proud still to be here, sort of 6 years on, and we're, not growing quite as fast as during the COVID years, but still continuing to grow. And, um, I've been professionalizing the business, making hires with the help of more staffing, of course. And kind of, yeah, just becoming a bit more of a mature business owner. Um, so yeah, that's kind of sums up what how the last few
Actually,
years.
that was my yeah, yeah, yeah. My question is that did you have to pause or put on hold like few months after the pandemic, like when they announced quarantine and all?
So actually, in the UK, golf stopped for like 2 or 3 months, which was crazy
Mm,
because it's like the perfect sport during
yeah,
COVID.
yeah,
I think that only lasted like maybe a month or two.
got
Um,
it.
but yeah, from a business perspective, there was challenges around shipping inventory from China to
Oh
the
yeah,
UK. It became very expensive. Um, but yeah, I think we managed to kind of get through it and probably grew quite a lot off the back of COVID, which is a bit. I always feel a bit guilty saying that because obviously it was a terrible time for a lot of people, but
yeah,
it was actually quite good for business.
yeah. Yeah, I remember I was still working as a supply chain manager when COVID hit. So it was like the Chinese New Year break and then they didn't go back. So
Yeah.
everyone is like having a hard time understanding when will the stocks go
Mm.
back in stock and delivery in like US and other countries. So yeah, that was a at least it's good for like for your brand
Yeah.
that it's like the perfect sports for during pandemic. Did you are you do you play yourself? Like did you have interest in golf yourself?
Yeah. I'm quite a keen golfer. Not necessarily a good golfer, but I'm definitely keen. I was good when I was a kid, but then
Oh, nice.
yeah, I don't really have the mentality of a golfer. You have to be very patient and very strong mentally. But I'm a bit, I think, technically quite a good golfer. But yeah, which also helps because Cali as a brand is a brand for all golfers. You know, new
Yeah.
golfers,
Yeah.
uh, people that have been playing a long time, different levels of golfing ability as well. So it's good that I
Yeah.
can kind of understand different types of golfers.
I agree because I agree with the patients. Like the first time I really had a chance to try, it was just last week. As in first time, the trainer said, "Don't think about hitting the ball." So I was like, "What?
Mm,
That's the goal, right? I need to hit the ball." But again, it's something that I didn't. It was I thought it was easy, but when I was there, I couldn't even hit
yeah,
anything at all. And it's like I thought it's like not physically draining, but your core is engaged. So something that I realized this is going to be hard for me,
yeah.
but I enjoyed it.
That's good. Yeah. No, it's definitely physically and mentally draining. I mean, you're playing for like 4 or 5 hours and you're having to
Yeah,
concentrate a lot. So yeah, you definitely need to build up like stamina for it. But yeah, it's a great sport for, I still play with my dad every weekend and he's like 65 ish.
oh, nice.
It's good in that sense as well, and great exercise for him
Yeah,
and me of it as well, of course.
yeah. Yeah, so you mentioned earlier that you supported a lot of DTC brands before creating your own brand. So how was the journey for you that uh, um, growing a brand in the sports industry as maybe compared with your previous experience that is not sports related? Is there any particular challenges or advantage that you've experienced?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious advantages was I was used to growing e-commerce brands through paid advertising, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Meta and Google, so I kind of had that background. Even though I feel like I've learned a lot more running my own paid advertising as opposed to I was quite a junior kind of employee in an
Mm-hmm.
advertising agency, and you spend half your time not really doing client work. You're tracking your hours and all the other stuff that goes into being an employee. But yeah, the big challenge going self-employed was managing your own time,
Yeah.
which is something that even today I still struggle with a little bit. Um, you can work at any time of the day, but I try to keep a regular work schedule. Um, so yeah, that took a bit of time to get used to, but it's also great as well having that freedom and being able to make my own hours. But yeah, there was definitely. I don't think I would have been able to have started an e-commerce brand without having that. I kind of think
Mm-hmm.
about it more as like the training that I was being paid to train, and even when I was doing the job, I had always had the mindset that I was only doing this with a view to creating my own e-commerce company
Yeah.
2 3 years down the line. So um, I didn't. It kind of took the stress out of the job for me because I just saw it as my own personal development.
Nice.
Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, to start, maybe we can talk about a little bit about your team and your brand's growth. I know that a year ago you started hiring overseas for more staffing, and this is a customer service representative, and now you're on your fourth hire. What
Mhm.
did your team look like then, like before you hire first talent?
Yeah. So yeah, that was about a year ago. I think we had our initial kickoff call maybe a few months before, and in typical Ryan fashion, I spent a few months sort of
Mm-hmm.
procrastinating and humming and hawing whether I should go ahead and make the hire. But yeah, prior to that, I had support with Meta ads and Google ads. Two guys from the UK. They were actually digital nomads. Um,
Mm-hmm.
one based in Bali predominantly, another one literally every month, and he's in a different country. But they were two UK guys, and I had a guy in Australia running email marketing. So it was me and three other guys. I at that stage had started using a 3PL, so the
Mm-hmm.
operational side of the business, packing orders, shipping them out, was all handed off. That was a few years ago. I made that change, and of course have an accountant here in the UK that does all
Yeah.
my tax filing. Um, but yeah, I think the guy that I was working with on Meta ads had suggested that trying to get a customer service rep would be probably the
Mm-hmm.
best move that I could make. Although he was quite hesitant of handing it off to an overseas talent. I think
Yeah.
he was expecting me to look for someone in the UK. As I mentioned to you guys, I was quite strongly influenced by Andrew Farris's
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Um, I listened to him religiously and trust in what he has to say. So that was a great referral. And yeah, I was really impressed with the call that we had. I thought everyone was very professional and nice. Um, I thought it was maybe a bit too good to be true, but I think it was worth. Yeah, because you guys were making a lot of promises, which
Yeah.
have turned out to be true. But sometimes you just have to kind of take a leap of faith, which I did do
Mm-hmm.
with Donna. And yeah, I think she was the perfect first hire to make.
That's right. I think what actually made us have those benefits that we provide to our clients, like for example, the quick turnaround or the 12 months guarantee, is that because we came from operating e-commerce businesses ourselves. So similar to you, Ryan, we've been working for DTC brands before we even created more staffing, and that was actually the story of it, is that I was the first hire of the brand of Greg Carey. And then from there, we grew to 15 Filipinos, and from 400K to 10 million. And then Greg realized, you're good in recruiting. I
Mm-hmm.
think we should do this as a business. So that's actually where More Staffing was born. And I think the deep understanding of the DTC space, it's very different from my more than 15 years of experience in the corporate world. Like it's totally different. It's
Mm-hmm.
very fast, it's ever changing, and so supported by talents, different talents, is very, very, very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing how your team looked like before hiring. um so did you experience, like, 1 year fast forward to today, what did you realize, or is there any key takeaway or big change that you felt that happened for in your growing the business part side of things because of the new team members that you have?
Yeah. So if Donna, she came on board for customer services. Yeah, I wish I had offloaded customer services much earlier. It's just one of these things.
Hmm.
When you take it off your plate, you realize how much more time you have. And it's not just time you gain back; it's also kind of
Yeah.
uh, sort of clarity of thinking. You're not constantly getting pulled out of deep focus work to answer like emails that aren't super important. I mean, they are important, but it's not really where a founder should be focusing their time on.
Yeah.
But yeah, before hiring Donna, I was convinced that I was the only person in the world that could handle Cali customer services, let alone someone that was from the Philippines and had never played golf and all those things. But yeah, I suppose hindsight's a wonderful thing. Like there was a bit of a learning curve for Donna, which
Hmm.
isn't a Filipino thing. It's that's just there would be for anyone, no matter where they're
Yeah.
from. Um, of course, it would help. potentially if you did have a golf background. But if I looked for someone in the UK, then as we know that the costs would be completely different, and
Yeah.
probably they wouldn't be as committed. But yeah, no, I really I don't want to like over embellish anything because then it starts to get a bit unbelievable. But
Yeah.
Donna has been great from a cultural perspective.
Yeah.
I just really enjoy chatting to her. I think she's a lovely person. And yeah, I don't know if I got lucky or yeah, perhaps there might be an element of luck. Of course, I
Hmm.
interviewed three candidates. Um, I actually can't really remember what the other candidates were like now. It was quite a while ago. But yeah, she's taken to the role really well. Um, it's just amazing how, like I say, I thought no one would really be able to replace me.
Yeah.
She has been able to, and actually is doing a much better job at how I was doing customer service. Giving much
Hmm.
more detailed responses. Um, I think I was getting quite short with my responses and kind of coming across as quite rude. But she's very friendly, maybe has that kind of feminine touch, which
Yeah.
I was missing. And yeah, knows the business kind of inside and out. And with these new hires that I'm starting to make through more staffing, she's kind of playing this role of helping me onboard the
Hmm.
new Filipino talent, and kind of just giving them a general overview of the company and the products that we sell. Um, that's been great. And yeah, now I'm at a stage with Donna that I could just leave her and let her do her, uh, do her job, and we could potentially not speak for weeks on end, which is great and it is what I was hoping for. But I'm also kind of having to remind myself to kind of check in on her, not even in a kind of to make sure that she's doing her job okay, just from a social perspective, make sure that she kind of feels involved in the team and she's happy. I think that's really important. Um, Sorry, I've lost track a little bit of the question, but I think I'm more or less answering it.
Yeah. Yeah, actually connected to customer service, Ryan. I think this is what you've experienced is definitely one of the most common things why they other clients are hesitant to give the customer service to Filipino talents is because they like the culture or the knowledge of that specific brand is slacking in the Philippines. And just to give you an example, in the Section 119 brand where I work with Greg, it is a licensed company apparel brand for Grateful Dead and Fish, which is like a very American jam band. Like
Mm.
I don't even I like music, but living here in the Philippines, I don't know them until I work with them. So
Yeah.
the owner, Greg, was really hesitant, like how can someone from the Philippines understand the culture of jam bands here in the US and let alone connect with the customers because the customers are really like diehard fans of these brands. And so when I guided him there, like we already have like probably seven Filipinos there, but more on supply chain and finance and no customer service yet. What I've said is why not try someone that has at least interest in music. Let's
Mm.
start there. And then I know that it's hard to find a customer service from the Philippines that has experience in like Grateful Dead or Fish because it's not common for us. But what we can do is we ask this talent to really deep dive and research about the brand so that despite the lacking knowledge of that jam band, he will still be able to communicate properly
Mm-hmm.
and he took a chance on that like we did like an onboarding training. We hired someone that has interest in music at least,
Mm-hmm.
so that was very helpful. And so I with the same story that you've had, like it's if we created it, if you founded this brand, it's like it's very difficult to delegate the task of making sure that our customers are are 100% supported. But I think what the other clients, probably you in the beginning, didn't know is like 20 years ago, the customer service call center outsourcing boomed here in the Philippines, and it became like the biggest support of our economy at the time. So, like probably the talent or the skill that the Filipino has at this for this role is that whatever brand that you're asking me to support, I will learn it and then apply the skill of a customer service representative that they learned. So probably that could be the same thing that happened with Donna. It's really having an understanding in the beginning. If she's not familiar with golf, then slowly learning about golf and understanding
Yeah,
the brand is was the was the step
yeah,
that she took.
yeah. I have no
Yeah.
idea how she was able to do it, to be honest, because I didn't really train her or spend that much time with her. She was just seemed to all of a sudden like develop the knowledge. I think it helps that her English is absolutely amazing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like she has a bit of an American accent. You would think speaking to her, she would be like American.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just that's probably what I'm most impressed with as well. But yeah, just as well, her reliability and work ethic is also really important. Um, there is an element of trust that I can
Yeah.
just leave her to kind of get on with it for weeks on end, even though I try to check in with her. Because I don't think it's fair not to kind of develop a personal relationship with employees, but obviously I get busy and she gets busy. She kind of makes her own schedule now, which is absolutely fine because we have customers in the US and the UK.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Her
so
feedback to you actually is that you're very accommodating, efficient, and provides autonomy. So I think it matches, I think your working style matches wherein you operate in trust, checks in every now and then she appreciates the autonomy that you give her, and so it worked very well.
mhm.
So that's a good one. All right. So when did you consider hiring remote talent? Is it just right after you have listened to Andrew Faris or any other
I think
timeline?
I've been thinking about it for a while. Yeah, going back to the first hire, which was customer services, I'd not just Andrew Faris, but other people in e-commerce talking about that's a good first hire to make. Um, so yeah, but like I say, I was thinking about trying to hire someone here in the UK,
Yeah.
and I'm quite certain that A, it'd be more expensive, and B, the quality would be less, and
Hmm.
it would have required a lot more hand holding for me and
Yeah.
time training them, because people here don't really have the initiative to kind of like learn by themselves, and
Hmm.
uh, yeah, I think that takes quite a lot of like work ethic and
Yeah.
ingenuity, maybe if that's the right word.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you know, I had a good experience with Donna in customer services. And then actually, I was a bit naughty. I hired a Filipino talent out with more staffing. I tried to be a bit
Hmm.
clever and save some money and not spend it on the finding fee. But so that was someone who was doing like bookkeeping and
Hmm.
like admin type finance stuff. Um, and unfortunately, that didn't really work out. So I've now gone back to more staffing, and we're looking to
Hmm.
replace that hire. Uh, and I think that just emphasizes that talent that goes through a rigorous kind of interview process that you guys
Yeah.
do, telephone call, the screening, and the references. Like those are really important steps that I think if you try to do it yourself, you're probably going to miss out on.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, I've it just hasn't really worked out. I mean, there's various different reasons why that might be.
Hmm.
Potentially some personal reasons, but out with them, uh, yeah, there was just a lack of commitment from the hire, and which led to a bit of a breakdown in kind of trust,
Yeah.
which I think is really important. And if you get these things wrong, there is kind of you waste time and money. Sort of the time that you spend onboarding the hire and trying to train them, or kind of just generally onboard them. Uh, and yeah, I kind of got into the situation where I was giving this person a bit more time, even though there was red
Yeah.
flags. And you keep on telling yourself that they're going to turn it around, and I think
Hmm.
that it's good. It's good to have that learning that probably you should trust your gut instinct and maybe cut your losses short earlier. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I say, I think the learning from that is that it's worth going with more staffing who have
Hmm.
more kind of rigorous process around screening candidates. And I think even just the candidate going through the different, the different calls that you guys have, the
Yeah.
telephone call that you do
Yeah.
initially.
I was about to ask what in that hire that you personally did yourself, what did you do? Did you have like an interview or you just did a resume and then hired the talent?
Yeah, it was.
I'm not laughing at you, but
Yeah,
I'm
no,
curious.
thinking back on it, um, yeah, I mean, she was a referral, so
Mm,
but yeah, I don't blame the person that referred them. Uh, and like I say, perhaps uh, there was unforeseen circumstances that led
yeah.
to the situation. But yeah, I again, yeah, no, you're right. I didn't have the same time or expertise in screening
Yeah.
someone. I
Yeah.
didn't really even interview them. I just had a call, and my thinking was that what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
To be
That's
honest,
right.
the worst that could happen is you waste 4 or 5 months. And you know, at my stage of business, I really needed someone in that position that could kind of hit the ground running. So it was quite costly, kind of losing 4 or 5 months. Um, and yeah, so now
Mm-hmm.
I've gone back to more
Mm-hmm.
staffing to source for that hire. And of course, with you guys, the guarantee that you have is really important as well. Um, so yeah, I guess I regret trying to do it myself, but yeah, I think it's an interesting one because it in practice seems quite easy, like what you guys do.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't I just do it and save some
Yeah.
money? But yeah, I think in reality, there's a lot more to it, and you guys obviously being from the Philippines kind of understand the type of candidates more and maybe their
Mm-hmm.
backgrounds, and which obviously people here in the UK or in the US or wherever they're from might not have that same understanding.
Yeah. Actually, we deal it like we ensure that we support two sides of hiring. One is we have that rigorous hiring process so that we can ensure that we're shortlisting candidates, the best possible candidates. But of course, it would be absurd if I say that we don't get talents that are not good. We also have some instances wherein the talent is good in interview, resume is great, and then assessment, background check is okay. And then once they work with the client, there's like a mismatch of working styles and it
Mhm.
didn't work out. That's why if that happens, despite the rigorous hiring process, what we can support you with is a replacement for 12 months because we know that it could be costly if for example, the um, usual agency guarantees 3 months. So what's gonna happen after 3 months is you're gonna pay another fee for that. So for us, we don't wanna have that experience with our clients wherein they're unsure. And of course, we value what you pay. That's why the long guarantee is for sure something we know that could be helpful. So at least we try to get the best talents possible, but if not, then we then replace it with a guarantee.
Yeah.
Um, Tell us more about your journey with more staffing, like regarding process wise. How was your experience?
Yeah. I suppose the just from the initial kickoff call we had, I think you might have been on it, and several other employees for more staffing. I think everyone's really nice and friendly, but not just smiley faces. They clearly kind of
Mhm.
a deep knowledge of the areas that you're trying to hire in. Like you say, you've kind of worked on both sides of things
Yeah,
in the D2C company as well as with the hiring agency. Um, so yeah, because I'm kind of like a busy founder trying to do a million different things. Like I don't really have
yeah,
the time necessarily to think deeply about exactly what I'm looking for. You have an idea of the kind of role that you're looking for, but perhaps you don't know the terms or like more. Just recently we've discussed this finance role that I'm looking to hire for. In terms of like a controller, like I
yeah,
don't know what that means. But more staffing are able to explain that and kind of explain that that's probably like a more of a higher level hire, so they'll have a different
yeah,
rate of pay, and yeah, the various different things. So it's been really good in that sense as well, and I think that's something that you miss out on if you try to do it yourself. You don't have that
hmm,
kind of deep knowledge of the different areas. And I'm always amazed that I think I am quite a difficult client because I'm not that certain of what I'm looking for. I kind of need the
yeah,
guidance, which every time I've kind of come to more staffing for hires, and this is of course the fourth hire that I'll be making,
yeah,
I've been able to have that support, and they've been able to create a really good job description, which always turns out to, even though I didn't realize it, when I read the job description, I kind of find myself saying that, oh yeah, that is exactly what I'm looking for and need. Um, so yeah, they're kind of like one step ahead.
yeah,
And also just the constant kind of check-ins that they have
hmm,
is really great. Again, I'm busy. I kind of sometimes forget that I've kind of got you guys looking for someone, and then
yeah,
I get an email saying just checking in. This is where we're at. I think that's really useful, and I think I was speaking to someone that was looking to use you guys, and they were concerned that they would have to pay like a deposit to the start of the
hmm,
search, and I just explained to them that, well, of course they have to take a deposit because they're going away and doing all this work. But
yeah,
you have nothing to worry about. Like they're very reliable and they'll keep you updated throughout the process. Um, and then even during the interview stage, like I've had a bit more experience now, but I've never really interviewed people before. Um,
hmm,
some support and guidance around that. I think it's really useful having the interviews recorded and the recordings are sent to you immediately afterwards. Just small things like that.
yeah,
And then, of course, the assessment that comes after. I've also asked the question like, do you guys have any recommendations for the type of assessment that I should do? And you've been really helpful with that. And then the references, of course, like I made my first hire, I probably kind of glanced over the references, but now after having
hmm,
some less than perfect experiences with hiring, I realized that references are really important.
yeah,
Um, so I've kind of pushed for more, a wider range of references. So not just references from one employer, but
yeah,
ideally you'd get references from several employers just to kind of corroborate what they're saying. Um, but yeah, I think I've had made good hires, but also I enjoy working with everyone at More Staffing, and I think obviously you guys are good at what you do, so it's well worth the fee.
Yeah, also to validate, you've mentioned, Ryan, that you were coming in with an idea of hiring a position without having the full picture of like what else can this talent do. And I would say that you're not alone in that. We've experienced like majority of our clients, they have like an idea, but then they will realize when they see the sample profiles from us, they will see, oh, okay, I can still get a support from this talent in this wider category of work. So definitely not very different from others. I was glad that I'm glad that they were able to share with you like a job description, sample profiles to give you more idea how to like what kind of talent we should be hiring. So aside from the customer service, which is the first hire, the two other positions that you've hired after that is marketing related, and you are a marketing expert in this field. Like, how does this two additional talents help or change something in your business, especially it's in marketing side?
Yeah. So yeah, I've hired the most recent hire was an email marketer.
Mm-hmm.
The Yeah, I have been using a guy in Australia who's extortionate, but he is really good at what he does. So basically, what we're doing is over an extended period of time. It was sort of initially penciled in for kind of 1 to 2 months, but basically the email marketer in Australia is going to help me hand over his role to this girl in the Philippines who I've hired
Mm-hmm.
through staffing, and I think that's largely she it's really early days. It's sort of 3 weeks into her hire, but she did a great job of designing, and she's probably 90% there.
Yeah,
Of course, it's a very important role, so we're not going to rush it. And basically, he's on hand to answer like any questions that she has, and kind of give her some advice when it comes to copywriting.
yeah.
And it's not even like there's a few elements at play, which is again, she's not a golfer, so doesn't necessarily know like the
Mm-hmm.
lingo that's involved. Um, and of course, her English is great, but I guess the way our tone of voice when it comes to email marketing is quite casual. So perhaps the
Yeah,
language that she's using is a bit more kind of formal. Um, which again is just she's going to learn from the guy that's been doing it for several years now. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. Probably there's going to be like a 2 3 month handover period, um, and then she'll be able to run everything herself. And then I'm going to be saving a lot of money, which is not always the most important thing, but I think if you're like a good operator of a business, then if you can save money whilst maintaining the same level of quality, then it's definitely something that you should try to do. So that's how it's been with email marketing. Um, and then, of course, when it comes to paid ads, we spend quite a lot of money on paid ads each month. And anyone who has been in a Facebook ad account will realize the importance of creative. So yeah, we're hiring a creative production specialist who's going to be creating hundreds of ads hopefully per month, and is really going to kind of add rocket fuel to our paid ad account or meta ads account.
Thank you for sharing that, Ryan. We actually wanted to have a balanced conversation about the advantages and disadvantages. We've talked a lot about the advantages that you've had, and of course, we want to be also transparent with the challenges that we might experience in hiring remote talent, or maybe there's a learning curve in working with overseas talent. So, um, with that, do you have what were the challenges that you've experienced? Like, for example, time zone, communication, any challenges that you've had?
Yeah, um, yeah, I think that's fair. I don't love kind of like specifying like Filipino talent or even overseas talent because I really don't see the hires that I've made as any different from people that if I was hiring them here in the UK. Um, yeah, the hires that I've made have, of course, the time zone is different between the UK and the Philippines. I think initially the hires have kind of worked, had some overlap with me here in the UK. But like I said, Donna now kind of works whenever she wants, which I think is better for her. Um, yeah, I suppose when you hire anyone, you know, you need to be willing to spend time with them. So there's a time commitment that, like I say, that's uh, the case anywhere in the world. I
Yeah.
would also say that you would need to continue to make time to just like check in with your employees just to kind of develop like interpersonal connection with them. Now that I'm actually bringing on more remote workers, remote talent, we're starting to do like a lunch and learn
Mm-hmm.
session each month. So you, each of us is going to pick like a topic that's related to Cali or the golf industry and talk about it for like 10, 15 minutes. So we're going to like learn from each other. And it's just a way of like everyone getting to kind of know each other and potentially if, for example, the bookkeeper needs to take some time off, then perhaps someone else can like spend some time learning from them, like the basic level of their job, so that they can help support if they need to take like a day off or an afternoon off or whatever it is. Um, so yeah, I suppose the challenges is, and this again, it's like a challenge just in general for me because it's quite new for me managing employees, but just making sure to like check in on everyone and make sure that they're still happy and um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like doing as much as I can to, because of course you want to make sure that people are content with their job because you spend
Yeah.
a lot of time getting them trained, or you know you don't want to be replacing them again if yeah if they're not happy. And yeah, hopefully I keep on saying this, but I'd like to come over to the Philippines and
Yes.
meet everyone for the first time in person. I mean, it's great being able to speak on Zoom or Google Meets. Um, but yeah, I think actually making the effort to come over there would be nice. And also, I think
Yeah.
the Philippines looks great. Particularly where Donna lives is looks like a tropical paradise. So yeah, I'd definitely like to come over there. Um, but yeah, from a kind of personal perspective, um, my wife is actually pregnant, and we're expecting our first child in September. So
Congratulations.
I appreciate that. But that's where people like Donna are going to be like super important to me, like allowing me to take
Yeah.
some maybe like a month off for paternity
Yeah.
leave. And every yeah, so all the hires that I've made are like really important to me, and yeah, I want to make sure that they're happy. We're looking into providing a system on Hubstaff whereby for every month they work for Cali, they uh,
Mm-hmm.
get like I think we're saying 3 days of paid leave for every month that they work,
Mm-hmm.
and also looking into things like health insurance and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah. We're excited to welcome you here, Ryan. We can have a little golf tournament for you.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be helpful if before you like take a leave, like a lot of our clients will come here to have like a few days planning session, spend
mm,
time, build relationship in person. That's something that we definitely want to support you with if you decide to push for that. But again, a, a lot of clients are doing that already, especially for clients that has like more than three hires in the Philippines.
yeah,
They will really come here, spend time with them, have a little like planning session, game plan, strategy, and then
yeah,
have some fun times together as well. So
yeah,
we're
exactly.
excited for that. Last question for you, Brian. It's like getting an advice from you to other e-com founders, like for DTC founders and e-commerce owners who are on the fence about hiring remote talent, whether they are from any country. What would you like say to them, or what's your advice?
Yeah, I would say just kind of go for it. You guys have a great guarantee, so it really is risk free, in my opinion. There's no real reason not to do it. Like as we discussed, I had a million reasons that no one could ever kind of replace me, and that kind of turned out not to be the case. So yeah, I regret not hiring, especially I think a customer service role is like a great starting point to kind of dip your toes in. Um, and if you were like me, spending a lot of time responding to emails, messages on the various different platforms at all different times of day, and kind of particularly with customer services, you can get like a bad email from a customer complaining late
Yeah.
at night, and it kind of emotionally drains you. So I think, especially in that role, but not just in customer services, I'm of course looking into or have made hires in marketing and in finance. Um, so yeah, it's not just limited to customer services. But yeah, I think more staffing is a really great agency to use, and I think just in general making hires specifically in the Philippines, um, you'll hire very friendly, great, kind of reliable people. Um, they're very capable of the jobs that you need filled. Like I say, I don't quite know how the hires I've done have managed to do it, but they have been able to. So I would go into it with an open mind, but you also have to remember that um, it's a two-way street. You have to help spend the
Mm-hmm.
time with them, help train them, and also like treat them, make sure that they're of course paid fairly, and there's other benefits. Because yeah, um, it's a mutual thing. But yeah, I would definitely recommend people to. I almost didn't want to do this podcast because it's kind of like my secret weapon. Like I want happy to kind of help you guys and of course speak about this, but I also don't want too many people to know about it. I think we can all blame Andrew Farris for that because yeah, he's of course talking a lot about it.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Definitely, Andrew has been a huge support to us. His whole team is from the Philippines. It's not
Yeah,
just about us having an advertisement with his podcast. He really works with us in all his like work. Like he has his creative team with us. He hired media buyers from us, and at the same time, he's launching a new brand, which is a secret for now. But
wow.
he's using our supply chain service for that. So yeah, for wrapping up, I know that we are almost on time. What's next for Cali Golf, Brian? What's an exciting projects or growth plans that you have in the horizon?
Yeah, yeah, I need to keep on reminding myself that I'm really lucky and stay excited. Sometimes when you're 5, 6 years into it, yeah, it's you can forget about that. But yeah, we're continuing to grow, which of course is exciting. Growing more in the US, which is the biggest market for golf. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying the process of making hires and kind of offloading as much work from me as possible. To make the business more kind of exitable. If sellers or buyers of a business don't want a business that is too reliant on the founder or one employee doing everything, they want a business that they can buy. But anyway, I'm not thinking about selling anytime soon. But yeah, it's always good to be thinking 5, 10 years in advance. But yeah, just to continue growing and making sure that we're as profitable as possible, and yeah, enjoying the work that we do and spending time with all the employees that I have now.
Brian, do you sell outside UK? Where do you sell your products?
We have the capability to sell anywhere in the world, but
Nice.
primarily our two main markets are the UK and the US. But yeah, we if you email us, then Donna will respond and she can set up an order for anywhere in the world using
Nice. All right. So for those who are interested in getting products like this, it's caligolf.com.
yeah.
And yeah, do you have probably I would get your LinkedIn or Twitter after this, Ryan, just in case you have, so that if people have questions, they might have the chance to reach out to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I'm not
And
active on Twitter or LinkedIn, but yeah, you can follow Callie, which is actually Golf Callie on Instagram, and I've just
mhm,
created my own account for Callie content, which is Ryan from Callie on Instagram.
nice. All right.
So yeah,
We'll
I'm
put
trying.
that in the show notes. And for those interested in hiring top tier remote talent like Ryan did, visit us at morestaffing.co. Ryan, thank you so much for your time and joining us today. It's really, really um, insightful for me to interview you, and we appreciate your support. And we will do our best to continuously provide you the best talent that we can on your fourth hire, especially. And just like what we did in other brands that we've had, it's from one to more than 15. I know you. I know we will grow with you on that. So
Oh, appreciate
thank you
that.
so much.
Yeah, it's great
All
speaking
right.
to you.